you're going to be drugged up real heavy with a combination of sodium pentothal and phenobarbital. You're not going to remember a fucking thing about this little adventure.
In the vast expanse of the American Southwest, a nightmare lurked beneath the surface. A monster disguised as an ordinary man preyed on unsuspecting women, luring them into a chamber of horrors known as the Toy Box. It was a source of entertainment for me to create these tapes. David Parker Ray, a.k.a. The Toy Box Killer was a serial rapist, abductor, and suspected serial killer. Ray was born on November 6, 1939 in Belen, New Mexico. He was raised by his grandfather, though his father maintained an abusive relationship with him and even exposed him to pornography. He had a younger sister, but they were split up when their grandmother died. In school, Ray did poorly and was teased for being unusually shy around girls. As a teenager, he abused alcohol and drugs. Ray's killings are believed to have come to an end in March 1999, when he was 59 years old. On the 22nd, an intended victim, Cynthia Vigil, escaped in Elephant Butte, New Mexico, after being held captive and tortured in the toy box for 3 days. She had waited for Ray to go to work and then taken the keys from his accomplice, his girlfriend, Cindy Hendy. In an almost cinematic moment, Hendy struck her on the head with a lamp in an attempt to knock her out, but Vigil managed to unlock her chains, stab Hendy in the neck with an ice pick from the floor, and run away wearing only an iron slave collar and the padlocked chains. A past victim known as Angelica M. came forward, telling the authorities about how she was abducted by Ray a little over a month before Cynthia Vigil. She had reported her kidnapping, but for some reason the police didn't investigate it. They also found photos of another victim in the trailer and animal bones buried in the nearby ground. Garrett attested that after she fought with her husband and went to play billiards with her friends, her beer was drugged and she was knocked unconscious. She was raped and tortured for 2 days, to the point of numerous blackouts before her throat was cut deeply and she was left to die on the side of a road. The police found her account too outlandish, and her husband, assuming she cheated on him, filed for divorce before she moved to Colorado. For some reason, the judge postponed the trial further in order to try Ray for a 1996 murder in Colorado, even though the evidence wasn't very strong. A sheet listing routines for keeping prisoners was excluded, along with the torture devices in the toy box, since it couldn't be proven that they were in Ray's possession in 1996. On May 7th, shortly before or during Ray's trial for the Colorado murder, Angelica M. died of a drug overdose, taking her testimony to the grave. On May 23rd, the jury selection for Ray's new trial was finally done, and he was charged with 12 counts of kidnapping, sexual abuse, and conspiracy. In July, the judge declared a mistrial because the jury couldn't agree on a verdict. Not all of them were persuaded that the testifying victims had been held against their will. In November, a retrial began. A few days into it, the judge passed away. The proceedings couldn't resume until next year in April. He made a plea bargain to plead guilty in exchange for his daughter, who had been an accomplice in at least one murder, receiving 5 years of probation. Consequently, Ray faced at least 223 years in prison in 2001. On May 28, 2002, Ray was transported to the Lee County Correctional Facility in Hobbs, New Mexico, to be questioned by state police. He died of a heart attack before the scheduled interrogation took place at the age of 62. With him dead, the case became a dead end. No bodies were found, no possible victims were identified, and no old suspicious deaths related to Ray were ever officially linked to him. In November of 2002, the toy box was opened to the public with the hope that it would lead to more surviving victims coming forward. Ray, and also his occasional accomplices, targeted prostitutes, luring them with some kind of ruse, such as soliciting them or pretending to be a police officer. He would then take them to his homemade torture chamber, the toy box, which was filled with sex toys, surgical instruments, chains, pulleys, straps, clamps, spreader bars, syringes, and diagrams of the human body. Aided Ray in killing Marie Parker together with Yancey, see below. Proof. While not directly mentioned or referenced in this episode, Ray appears to have been an inspiration for the episode's unsub, Ben Bradstone. Both were serial rapists and, alleged in Ray's case, killers with poor social skills, were bullied in school, targeted Caucasian women, at least some of whom were prostitutes, lured them with ruses before abducting them, would rape and torture them in personal torture chambers fitted with implements and a seat with straps, and recorded videos of their crimes, even with disclaimers in the beginnings of the tapes.